cancer is one of the most common invasive cancer among women in Ireland, with 1 in 7 of us likely to develop the disease within our lifetime.
But early diagnosis can have a huge impact on outcomes, which is why this month the Irish Cancer Society is encouraging us to care for our pair by being breast aware. Dr. Una Kennedy, GP advisor with the National Cancer Control Programme, joins us now. Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us today. And I suppose you can't underestimate the importance of this month for people to be made aware of how to examine their breasts. The prevalence of it is with women and some men as well, we have to say. And it's not just older women that get breast cancer. It can affect anyone.
It can affect any woman at almost any age. Now, the vast majority of cases are in women over the age of 50, but you can't be complacent, and you're dead right. About 1% of cases are in men. So it's great that the Irish Cancer Society is holding this event. Breast Cancer Month is October, and it's a great time to make everybody aware of breast cancer and aware of the need to monitor themselves and check their breasts regularly.
Una, how often should we check your breasts? Like you say, check your breasts regularly. Obviously, for women, depending on your age, you go through different changes. Then if you've had babies and you're postpartum or you're breastfeeding. So how often should you check?
The advice generally is once a month. So for women who are still having periods, it's usually the week after your period, because they can be a bit lumpy leading up to your periods anyway. So that settles down after your period, and it's a great way to remember. If you're postmenopausal and you're not having periods anymore, then set a day in the month and make that your day. But you can check more often than that, of course. Check as often as you want.
When people hear the words breast cancer, though, it can terrify a lot of people. But with all the research that's been done, all the treatments that are available there can be a lot of positive outcomes as well, and the rates are getting more positive by the year. But early detection is key when it comes to this.
Yeah, you're so right. If you're diagnosed at stage 1 breast cancer in Ireland, our 5-year survival is 97%. I mean, that's a fantastic figure. The outlook is really, really good. It is scary, there's no doubt about it. You find that lump, you get that news, and you're going to be scared, but the outlook is really good if you're picked up early. The crucial thing is to get in there early and get on with it and deal with it.
When you have people presenting in your GP practice, and I suppose with the pandemic people weren't going in-person visits anymore, what would you say to any woman out there now who has maybe not been as diligent as they should be?
The first thing I would say is just check, just do it. What I hear a lot from women at work is that they don't check because they don't know how to check, and they're afraid they'll do it wrong, and they're afraid they'll miss something. And what I say to them is, look, that's true. If you're not doing it right, you might miss something. If you're not doing it at all, you'll definitely miss something. So go for it. Nobody expects you to be perfect the first time you do it. Start it, get used to it, get into the habit of it. You're only going to get better at it. Hopefully you'll never find anything, but if you do, you'll find it quickly.
But the more you check, the more you get used to checking, that you kind of go, hang on, like, and again, as you said, like around periods or your breastfeeding or your body change, that you can kind of almost go, this could be that. But if there's a question, there's no harm in going in and just asking your GP, is there?
Absolutely, and if you're checking all the time, you'll know what's normal for you. And you'll know what your breasts feel like. And if you find a change, that's the real thing to be looking out for, a change, something that's there now that wasn't there before. And all you have to do is pick up the phone. It's very, very scary. But I think picking up the phone and just saying, look, I think I've found something, that's easy enough to do, I think.
Because in a lot of instances, it is there's nothing sinister. It's a cyst, especially if you're breastfeeding.
Absolutely.
There can be loads of different changes. But if it is something that needs to be looked at, you need to really be aware of what your breasts feel like and what they're like on a day-to-day normal basis. Now, a lot of us are aware, I have a lump, I must get that checked out. There is so much more than just a lump to look out for. Can you bring us through the other symptoms, the different ones, explain what they are and how to identify them?
Yeah, well look, you're dead right. The lump is the big symptom, but you're also dead right. Not everybody gets a lump and not everybody presents with a lump. So look, the easiest way is to think of it in terms of as if you were checking and go through the stages of what you go through. So if you're at home, you're on your own, mostly seems to be in the shower or when people are getting ready for bed. And I think that's when they remove their clothing, so that's why that happens. You can stand in front of the mirror, hands by your side or hands on your hips, and you just look. That's it, just look at the breast.
Just a visual check.
Just stand there, just look. That's
so if you're looking, are you looking at puckering? Are you looking for discoloration? What should you be mindful of? Not just the shape.
Yeah, think of 3 things. So I think of the breast itself, the skin of the breast and the nipple. So you're looking at the breast itself and you're thinking, is there a change in the size or the shape, or do you actually see a lump in the breast? Then look at the skin, and in the skin you're looking for redness of the skin, dimpling or puckering of the skin, and what they call that is peau d'orange. That's like an orange peel appearance. The skin's thickened and it's dimpled.
When you say dimpling and puckering, is that when it almost retracts and there's almost a dent in the skin?
Yes,
and
yeah.
You can,
If you imagine snagging your clothing on something and the clothing all gets pulled, it can have that sort of appearance.
Okay.
And then you look at the nipple and see, is there flaking or crusting of the skin around the nipple, and is it sucked into the breast? Is it dragged inwards? Now, some people always have nipples that are pointing inwards, and that's fine. If that's
a lot of people would have inverted.
And that's fine. But if it's new for you, then you need to take note of that. It's worth just also when you're standing there, just lift your arms up over your head and see how the breast moves, and see, then you might see the puckering or the tethering in the breast when the breast moves. Yeah.
So, and what about around your armpits as well? Because I know if you're checking around for nodes as well, you should be mindful of your armpits as well.
Yeah. When you've done the inspection, then move on to actually physically checking. And again, they say use the fingertips of the hand because that's where most sensation is. Use the opposite hand to check the breast, so your right hand to your left breast. So you put your hand over your head. Think of it as starting on the outside and going around in a circle, and the circle's getting smaller and smaller as you go. Start on the outside, simply go around the breast, pressing gently and going around and around and around until you reach the nipple in the centre.
Yeah.
Now, the idea is that you are meant to try to feel as far as the ribs, if you can feel that deeply. You're also meant to keep your hand on the breast, because if you take it off and put it on a different part, you might miss something. And you're also meant to go around in circles. Something might flick under your fingers. And exactly as you say, when you've done that, just remember the tail of the breast can go up under the arm. So just gently put your arm into the armpit and feel around there for any lumps or bumps.
So if you feel pain or anything like that in that area, is that something you really need to go check? Or because sometimes you can have breast pain and it's not necessarily indicative of something more serious.
Breast pain is really common. It's really common in women before their periods. It's really common in pregnant women, and goodness, it's very common in women who are breastfeeding. If all you have is breast pain, that's not usually a worrying sign. Now, if you're breast pain with a lump, or if you're breast pain with discharge from your nipple, or breast pain with that tethering of the skin, that's a more consequence. But breast pain with absolutely nothing else generally isn't something that we would worry about, particularly for breast cancer. But look, the fail-safe always is, if you're worried, if you think there's something amiss, just give your GP a call.
I thought it was interesting that you're saying that, especially for young women when you're beginning to examine your breasts, is that I think people just think you just kind of pat as you go along, that you know, whereas that contact being there all the time. I think that's one of the biggest things maybe you get lost at when you're checking your breasts, is that we kind of go, oh, we'll just have a quick, you know, in the shower you go, oh yeah, that all feels good. But actually, even as you say that there, I think that keeping contact all the time with the breast and trying, as you something could flicker underneath your finger, that you would feel something that you maybe haven't noted before, like.
Yeah, if you can. I mean, it actually isn't very easy to do, and you get distracted and your hand moves and so forth. But the reason as well to check repeatedly and check regularly is that even if you miss something today, if you're checking every month, you'll pick it up the next time around.
So it's important to do it at the same time every month, isn't it?
Ideally, yes, ideally.
You mentioned that you should be able to feel right through the ribs. Like for someone like me, that's never going to happen. And I have to get scans or mammograms and things like that. So if you have a larger bust, if you can't quite get through, because a lot of people would have knottier tissue, but breast screening is only available for free in Ireland over the age of, what's that?
50 to 69 years of age.
But if you're younger than that, what should you do if you're concerned?
You're simply still relying on self-examination. Now, you're dead right. Not everybody can feel as far as but that's your intention, to be aiming to get right through to the bottom of the breast, to the base of it. So while not everybody can or will, that's your intention when you're examining. I must be trying to get through to the base of the breast.
Yeah, okay. Now, there's other maybe more sinister symptoms as well that are very overt. You're looking at an abscess, lesions on the skin, things like that. I mean, at what stage? That's quite a worrying stage if you're getting to there.
Yes, and again, that's when you go back to inspection. So when you're standing in front of the mirror and looking for that redness on the skin of the breast. So typically an abscess will be red, hot, swollen and tender. So if you have an abscess, yes, or if you have something that you think might be an abscess, contact your GP.
So it's a big month. It's October. Obviously, those funds are vital for testing and screening. Our Elaine has gone out to do the pink run today as well.
In the rain, yay!
So support you can. But it's vital. The more we have these conversations, October is such an important month for women for breast cancer. And they're vital funds.
They're vital funds. And you know, over 3,500 women are diagnosed with breast cancer every year in Ireland. It's a huge issue. So they really do need help. The Irish Cancer Society receives just 3% of its funding from the government. The rest is through fundraising. So they're asking everybody to host the big pink breakfast any time in October. They're making it easy for us. They're not giving us a date if we're all busy. Just pick a date you want, host your breakfast, register with the Irish Cancer Society, and try and raise some funds for them. It's a great cause.
Thank you, Una. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Joining us on the show today.
For more information on what we discussed today, or to get involved in the Big Pink Breakfast, check out cancer.ie.
We're back with more Ireland AM after this break.